Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, shall we begin the session? All right. Let's start with the introduction of the quality systems in IT. So, when we talk about the quality system in IT, that means how the IT is introduced, or how the IT is introduced in the quality system. That means improvement of the quality in the system of the system, we can say. So, this is chapter number 1, introduction. Then these are the various perceptions. This is used with the ISO 9000 family of the standard that is used in 1987. That is a new industry that has grown in shadow. And this industry is characterized by the system of standard bodies, certification bodies, consulting practices, training providers, and so on. Now, there is a question that arises whether the ISO 9000, that is the International Standard Organization 9000, is perceived or is achieved the target that the company needs. Some organization, in fact, would use ISO 9000 that is used with likely to be in the majority of the time. Now, how we think about the ISO 9000? So when we talk about the ISO 9000, this is the standard, and all the negative comments have been nothing to do with the standard, but the way it has been interpreted by the organizations consulted. So this depends on the organization to organization, how organization will use this standard and how it supports the facilities of the infrastructure. That makes any discussion on the subject difficult, and that leads to the disagreement of the data. And some people also think about the ISO 9000 as a system. As a group of the document, ISO is a set of the interrelated ideas, principles, rules that could therefore be considered as a system in the same way that we refer to the metric system or the system of the measurement. So it is both the international standard as well as the family of those 20 international standards. To the quality management system. So each and every organization needs to do or have a way of doing the things. For some time it takes a rest or in the minds of the leader. For other it is translated onto the paper, and for most it is a mixture of the two. That means combination of the leadership that is converted into the paper. And before ISO 9000 come along, organization has found ways of doing things that have worked upon them, that is used to forget the things that has been before 9000 or ISO 9000, that is make the pyramids that created the mass production of the consumer goods, broken the sound barriers, put a man on the moon and brought him safely back to the earth. That means formalization of the encouragement of the various parts of the system that serve the achievement of the product quality. Now, this also requires organization to establish a quality system as a means of ensuring the product met specified requirement that is used with the organization that has failed to appreciate was they have all a management system, that is way of doing the things, and because the language used in ISO 9000 was not consistent with the language of their business. That is used with people with the connection that have already done and with the standard they are required. And this is the system that is used when is the SMS, then EMS, QMS, the way that we manage the system. With the use of the ISO 9000 standard, there is a family of the standard that was used, that is used with the focus on the procedures. And in almost every element of the ISO 9001, there was a requirement for the suppliers to re-establish or to establish and maintain the documented procedure to control some aspect of the organization operations. That is used with the 1994, we can say. There are three parts. One is SMS, one is EMS, one is a QMS. So the way we manage the rest of the business. These pieces need to be in place to provide the assurance that is in place to run the business effectively and efficiently. This is used to separating the assurance activities from the management activities. That equates with the provision of the objective evidence, and that equates with the generation and the maintenance of the documentations, procedures, records, whatever the records, whatever the auditor that is used with the evidence, organization will need to believe that it was not documented, it does not exist, and this ultimately led to the belief that quality system were a set of the standards. This ISO 9000 also requires the suppliers to establish a quality system to ensure that the product also met the specified requirements. Now, when we talk about the quality system, that is defined as an organization structure, procedure, process, or the resources, whatever the resources, whatever the procedure, whatever the processes that is required, that is needed to implement the quality management system. So that means this is a set of the document that is used for the quality systems. And this person also required a system to be established and documented. Now, would it ensure the product quality? Whether the new person also needs the improvement that the previous person could not to make, or not to make the written instructions that is not used without the trainings. That is, now these are the service, or they are the service industries that ISO 9000 quality system will deal with the procedure aspect of a service, not the professional aspects. Now, how we think about the certification. When we talk about the ISO 9000 certification, that is used to retain the ISO 9000 certificate, and that makes no difference to the way the organization is managed. It is similar to the man who chooses not to take the course examination. It is with the thorough knowledge that is acquired with the ISO 9001 standard. And when certification is not a requirement of the 9000, it is encouraged by the standard. So ISO 9000 is a standard. What it requires the ways the purchaser to determine the control necessary to ensure the purchased product that met their requirements with the ISO 9000 standards. So this also allowed the organization to specify their own requirements, provided that they did what they said they did, they received the certificate. So this depends on the certificate, this depends on the requirement, whatever they need, whatever they tell, whatever they said, that is received with the certificate of the requirements. And before using the ISO 9000 standards, organizations were faced with meeting all the manners of the rules, regulations that is used with the auditors, government. Yes, that is used with the ISO 9000 certificates. Now this is a staircase, that is scoping effect. One is the scope of the business, then scope of the quality system, scope of the ISO 9001, scope of the registration. So these are the various scopes that is used with the business, quality system, ISO 9001 standard, and the scope of the registration. Now, how ISO 9000 made us think about the quality, that is, what is the quality, how we are using the ISO 9001 product quality that is used with this. So when we talk about the logics of this ISO 9000 standard that provides certification, how we are using that provides the response or identify the resource requirement, what is the resource requirement of this, how to produce the quality plans, that is how to write a procedure on the producing quality plans, how to record the contract review, how to identify the design changes. Whatever the design changes, when we say design change, that means any change in the structure that is done by using the SQL queries. That means what is the procedure? That main objective is to define something rather than to achieve something. So when we define something, that is achieved, or that is done to achieve something, or define something rather than to the achieve something. This led to the documentation without any clear purpose that relate to the achievement of the quality. And the standard also required a document system that ensured the product quality, product met the specified requirement. That means whatever the product that also met the specified requirement, that is a clear purpose. And once again, the implementers also lost the sides of the objective, whatever the side of the objective, whatever the criteria that is using, so that is used with the side of the objective. Whatever the procedure goal, whatever the quality that is defined at the degree of the excellence. Now, one of the problems that arises or that occurs with this, instead of acquiring as the best way of meeting a requirement, those in charge of the ISO 9000 standard, that is also achieved, that is also perceived, or procedure that is implemented in compliance with the requirements. that requires a study of the way how the work gets done to appreciate how best to meet a requirement. That is how best we are meeting the requirement, whatever the procedure that is required to be documented and the range and the detail that is documented over the procedures. That is how the ISO 9000 standards will be used, procedure will be used that is too ready to be told or told what to do without questioning what they should be doing. So without questioning what they should be doing this, there is a requirement that is used with the ISO standards. Now, more often than not, the topics that is covered by the standard were only a sample of all the things that will be done to achieve the organization's objectives. That is used with the ISO 9000 standards. Now, however, ISO 9000 did require the organization to identify where to use the statistical techniques was necessary for establishing, for controlling and verifying the process capability, but this was often misunderstood in the corrective action procedure. That is a procedure to identify the variations and eliminate the cause. So this would result in the reduction in the variation. And that does not follow, did not always focus on the result, they tended to focus on the transactions. Now the concept of the corrective action was often misunderstood, that is believed with the fixing of the problem, and the preventive action was to be believed to be the preventive recurrence. That is used with the quality systems. There are multiple versions of the quality system, that is 9001, 9002, 3, 4, there are various clauses that is also used. Now Next part is chapter number 2 is basic concept of the quality system. What are the principle? That means rules, regulation that is followed up. Now, when we talk about the quality, what is that? What we can say what is the quality? So whenever we are saying that quality means whatever the needs, whatever the expectations, whatever the requirements and the expectations. So needs, wants, requirements and the expectations, that is a quality. And a man is a wanted being. There is always some need he wants to satisfy. Always there is a need of the man to satisfy in terms of the anything that is used. So needs cannot or never be terminated, never be finished. This need to longer motivated him to turn into the sign against seeking satisfaction. And even when we talk about the psychological needs that are also necessary to sustain the life. For example, when we talk about the food, clothes, shelter, and the water. Now, how the needs, or we can say what is the hierarchy of the need that is defined. One is a self-realization need. Self-realization needs means uh, self-realization means according to their own. What is your self satisfactory needs? That is a self-actualization needs. Then there is a esteem need. Then there is a social need. Then there is a safety need. Then there is a psychological need. So there are 4 types of needs or 5 types of need that is carried out. That is known as the hierarchy of the needs. So one is the self-actualization needs, esteem needs, social needs, safety needs, and the psychological needs. That is more often we use with the organization that also sustain a loss on the organization, also sustain a loss for the too thick or too long. That is not the functionality requirement, that is not the functionality paramount that is used with the various fashion. Now when we talk about the expectation, that is the implied needs or the requirements. Whenever we are using the implied needs that is acquired with the requested, that is used, that is we can say that take the granted with regards to the understand within our particular society as accepted norms. There may be the things to which we are recognized based on the fashion, style, trends of the previous experience what we are carrying out. Now, what is the quality? The degree to which a set of the inherent characteristics fulfill a need or the expectation. So if there is any feature that fulfill my needs or the expectation, that is a quality that is stated, general implied or the obligatory. So it depends on the quality. What is the quality? So that is a need will be satisfied with the quality. So the degree to which how the quality will be or how the needs are satisfied. When